Good evening. In the last session, we have completed up to second plan holiday. That was from the year 1990 up to the year 1992. Then comes eighth five-year plan of India, which started in the year 1992 and continued up to the year 1997. Eighth plan followed by ninth, 10th, 11th, and finally it was the 12th five-year plan in India. And in this session, we will start discussing regarding 8th five-year plan. But before that, I would like to give you some information with respect to what exactly happened in the year 1991. I told you already, it was VP Singh followed by Chandrasekhar government. And there was an inevitable election in the year 1991 because Congress party withdrew support to Chandrasekhar. That is the reason why India went for another midterm election in the year 1991. On May 21st, 1991, during the election campaign in Sri Perumbuduru, Sri Rajiv Gandhi was brutally assassinated. Elections continued, results were out, and the Congress party became the single largest party in the Lok Sabha, meaning it did not get the majority, but it became the single largest party in the Lok Sabha with 244 seats. 244 is much shorter when compared to the required majority to form the government. Yet the president has invited Congress party to form the government. At the time, Congress party requested Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao to come back into the politics and lead the nation. It was accepted gracefully by Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao and he became the Prime Minister in the year 1991. As I told you in the earlier class, right? So a person who is not a member of either of the House of the Parliament, if appointed as a minister, minister means including Prime Minister, if appointed as a minister, must become a member within 6 months of such appointment. This is what the constitution says. That is the reason why, though he was not a member of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, he has been appointed as the Prime Minister by the President of India and very much allowed by the constitution. Later, within 6 months, he contested from Nandyala constituency in Andhra Pradesh. He got elected and continued as the Prime Minister for 5 years. But look at the beautiful thing here, that it was a minority government. Some parties from outside, they were giving conditional support, right? So when it comes to, one of the political parties that gave support to, P.V. Narasimha Rao was Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. And during that time, so many allegations have come into the picture. P.V. Narasimha Rao government has bribed JMM, and that became a popular case called JMM bribery case. Clear? You may be aware of that one. So let's not go into the details of this one, but somehow he continued as the Prime Minister of India for a complete 5 years, meaning a minority government continued for 5 years in India, and that minority government was headed by late Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao. Then comes the year 1996, the year of election in India, Lok Sabha elections in India, and in that particular election, this no party could get the majority. No party could get the majority, but BJP, being the single largest party, it was invited to form the government. And it has been accepted by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and he became the Prime Minister of India. But whenever a political party does not have the clear-cut majority in the Lok Sabha, and if permitted to form the government, must prove the majority on the floor of the house within the time that is prescribed by the President of India. And time was given by the President, and Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee wanted to prove the majority in the Lok Sabha, but unfortunately he could not muster the majority. He tried to convince other political parties to support his government, but other parties did not agree. That is the reason why on 13th day, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee submitted the resignation, meaning he continued as the Prime Minister for just 13 days. Just 13 days he continued as the Prime Minister. And later, out of this consensus, again, Shri H.D. Devagowda has been appointed as the Prime Minister, and that continued for a short period. Later, he has been replaced by I.K. Gujral, Inder Kumar Gujral, again a short-lived government. That is the reason why there was an inevitable election in the year 1998, 96 election, 98 election. This time, the number of seats won by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, BJP, so they were, just the margin was a little bit more. Again, that party was allowed to form the government. Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the Prime Minister, and he gathered the support of other political parties also. But unfortunately, exactly after 13 months, the political parties withdrew the support. And one such political party was AIADMK, headed by late Kumari Jayalalitha. So this is what happened in the year 1998. That is the reason why again India had to go for the election. Again India had to go for the election in the year 1999. 96 election, 98 election, clear. And in the 98 election, the government has been formed, and the government continued only for 13 days. That is the reason why in the year 1999, again there was an inevitable midterm election. 91 election, 96 election, 98 election, and 99 election. So this was the scenario in India at that particular time. There was a complete political uncertainty that was existing in India. But when it comes to 1999, BJP got comfortable majority. It formed the government, at central level. Of course, it was a coalition government, clear. And this time, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee continued as the Prime Minister, up to the year 2004. Then UPA government came into the picture, headed by Dr. Manmohan Singh. Continued up to the year 2009. Again, it was, UPA government. Again, headed by Dr. Manmohan Singh, continued for another 5 years. Meaning, from the year 2004 up to the year 2014, it was Shri Manmohan Singh who was the Prime Minister of India. And in the year 2014, NDA came to the power, and Shri Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister of India. Clear? And when it comes to 5-year plans, so these 5-year plans were planned, and they were implemented. Though there were midterm elections, these 5-year plans were not disturbed starting from 8th plan. That is the reason why without a break we had 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Clear? So regarding these plans, let's discuss now. So kindly have a look at this. So when it comes to the 8th 5-year plan, the year is 1992 up to the year 1997. Human resources was given the top priority and called human face element of adjustment. Very, very, very important one. It may be a question. Which of the following 5-year plans has given highest importance to human resources? And your answer should be 8th 5-year plan. Clear? What do you mean by this human resources? So that was a general realization throughout the world. Basically, before that one, every country was thinking about the financial resources and material resources. But over a period of time, there was a realization that, like, if you have lots of financial resources and if you have the material resources, then the country may be developed. But of late, the countries have started discussing about the human resources. What is the use of financial and material resources in the absence of the human resources? So those human resources must be enhanced. They must be strengthened, so that whatever the financial resources and material resources you have, they can be made use effectively and judiciously. So that is the reason why entire world was looking towards the human resources. That is the reason why specifically India gave priority to human resources during the 8th 5-year plan. human resources is nothing but enhancing the skills of the people so that they will become, useful more effectively for the development of the nation. That is the basic idea. Clear? Alleviating poverty, meaning removal poverty and removing unemployment was stressed. Otherwise, if you look at, any plan, so we were facing poverty issues, we were facing unemployment issues. That is the reason why enough priority has been given to these two areas, alleviating poverty and, the reduction of the unemployment. Since human development is not possible without economic growth, the priority was given to energy, transport and communication. So at that time there was a recession in the industry, widening budget deficits, etc. were the problems. If you look at very clearly, in the year 1991, we have gone for the economic reforms. The reforms were new and the reforms were in large scale. That is the reason why some disturbances have been taken place for the adjustment. But otherwise, today we are enjoying the benefits of those reforms. Clear? So when it comes to GDP, again we have come across with the GDP. Of course, this is a part and parcel of our discussion. The target was 5.6%, but it was achieved 6.54%. Clear? So everything was going on well, right? Now, so now when it comes to 92 to 97, 8th 5-year plan, target growth was 5.6%, but actual growth achieved was 6.8%. Hence, it is considered to be a success. Look at this. This plan undertook drastic policy measures of what? To combat the bad economic situation and to undertake an annual average growth of 5.6% through the introduction of fiscal and economic reforms, including liberalization under the Prime Ministership of Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao. Clear? Regarding economic reforms, we will be discussing in the next session. But whatever the economic reforms that were introduced in the year 1991, all the credit must be given to then Prime Minister, late Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao, and then Finance Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Clear? Some of the main economic outcomes during the 8th plan period were rapid economic growth, meaning highest annual growth rate so far, high growth of agriculture and allied sectors, and also manufacturing sector, growth in exports and imports, improvement in trade and current account deficit. Everything was going on very, very well because of the introduction of the, the so-called new economic reforms. That is the reason why this plan is considered to be a success. Clear? Next, high growth rate was achieved even though the share of public sector in total investment had declined considerably to about 34%. So because of the economic reforms, because of the privatization, because of the liberalization, the total share of the public sector has come down drastically. But even then, India has achieved the so-called the economic growth. Clear? Now when it comes to 9th plan, 97 to 2002, clear, there was a political turmoil. But what happened here? Growth with justice and equality was given the priority during the 9th 5-year plan. Agriculture and rural development were given importance. If you observe very closely, in every 5-year plan, the importance is being given to agriculture and rural development. And if you neglect that one, that will affect the economy very, very badly. That's the reason why even today also agriculture is being given enough priority in the planning system and in every budget system. So during this period, the Planning Commission suggested that the subsidies should not exceed 72,800 crores in the 9th plan period. Clear? Kindly remember here, when it comes to subsidies, right? The subsidies are really exceeding the limits. So because of the freebies that are being promised by the the political parties during the election, that is the reason why the subsidies count is increasing like anything. But this plan was not a success. A poor state of infrastructure is the most pressing constraint for the growth. So that was a time we have realized that unless we have robust infrastructure, development is not possible. That is the reason why since the time India started focusing more on the development of infrastructure, and the basic reason for the failure of the ninth five-year plan was the lack of proper infrastructure in India. Am I clear? So this is regarding the ninth plan. Now when it goes to next page, target was 6.5%, but achieved was just 5.4%. Next, so when it comes to this particular plan, we already know this one. The plan prepared under the United Front government focused on growth with social justice and equality. Ninth plan aimed to depend predominantly on the private sector. Indian as well as the foreign FDI and state was envisaged to increasingly play the role of facilitator and increasingly involve itself with the social sector, namely education. So what happened now? The role of the government has come down very drastically. So because we have privatized, we are allowing private parties to play a pivotal role in our economy. That is the reason why the role of the public sector has come down. From domination, it became a coordinator. It became a facilitator. Clear? So the infrastructure where private sector participation was likely to be limited. It assigned priority to agriculture and rural development with a view to generate adequate productive employment and eradicate poverty. And ultimate goals should be reduction of the poverty and reduction of the unemployment. So this is what happened with almost all the 5-year plans. So next comes the 10th 5-year plan, 2002 to 2007. Doubling the per capita income in 10 years was the target. Reduction of below poverty line from 26% to 21% by the year 2007. So that was the target. Clear? And unfortunately that was not achieved. The target growth planned was 8%, but actual growth was 7.6%. So when it comes to 11th 5-year plan, the theme of this particular plan is towards a faster and more inclusive growth. Kindly see here, starting from so for so many years, India started experiencing the coalition governments. But except during Atal Bihari Vajpayee time and 13 days period, followed by H.D. Devagowda, followed by I.K. Gujral, and again followed by Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee for 13 months. Except during the times, the disturbance was not so much. Otherwise, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee became the Prime Minister again in the year 1999, that was also a coalition government, continued successfully for 5 years. And it was UPA government for 10 years, 2004 to 2014, that was also coalition government. Right? So it went on very smoothly at that time. Clear? And followed by NDA government, that is also a coalition government. Last time, though BJP got majority on its own, it preferred to go by, go with the French. So that is the reason why that government is also considered to be a coalition government. Clear? And the target was to achieve 9% growth. High priority was given to education. Rural development, agriculture, irrigation and health were also given the priority. And it was decided to increase the literacy rate to 80%. Clear? But of course, at that particular time, it was not achieved. Clear? Now, let's go to, these figures. You need not remember this one. The target is to reduce IMR, reducing MMR, provide safe drinking water to all by the year 2009. and to improve the sex ratio to 950 by the year 2016, and broadband connectivity to all the villages by the year 2012. So this was achieved. Broadband connectivity has been provided to all the villages by the year 2012. That is the reason why today you go to any remote area, any rural area, you have the broadband connectivity. Is that clear? Right? Next. So telecommunication to all the villages by the year 2009, it was done successfully. Electricity to all the villages, no. Roads to all the villages by 2009, no. Right? And Panchayati Raj institutions to be given priority, as India is the only country which has so many women elected representatives. This is the beauty of India. If you look at any country in the world, highest number of women representatives are from India. And of course it may not be in assembly and a Lok Sabha, but 33% seats have been reserved for women in both rural local self government and also urban local self government. Clear? Next. Right? So 11th plan, target growth 9% but achieved only 8%. Clear? So when it comes to India at the time, India emerged as one of the fastest growing economy by the end of the 10th plan. The savings and investment rates had increased. Industrial sector had responded well to face competition in the global economy, and foreign investors were keen to invest in India. Very, 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 very important. So economically India is developing. Lots of foreign investment is coming. Industries are increasing. Employment opportunities are increasing. Right? So there is no problem. But the problem is that the enough development has not occurred in the backward sections of the society. SCs, STs and other backward communities, they continue to be backward. That is the reason why during this plan we have come across with a new concept called inclusive growth. If it is only growth, nation may be growing, our economy may be growing, per capita income may be growing. But is it a real growth without inclusive growth? You cannot leave any section behind and you cannot say that India is growing. That is the reason why a new concept called inclusive growth has come into the picture. Inclusive growth is nothing but taking every person from every section of the society along with you in the development of the nation. That is called inclusive growth, and that concept has come into the picture during this plan. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important, and it is called inclusive growth. Next, if you look at the 12th 5-year plan, last 5-year plan, right? And this is the theme is the faster, sustainable and more inclusive growth. Look at this very clearly. More inclusive growth means the nation is growing, our economy is growing, but not inclusive. Meaning those sections who are behind, they were left behind. And if you are leaving somebody behind, and you cannot call it as a growth. That is the reason why more inclusive growth was the theme during the 12th 5-year plan. Very, 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 very important, right? Next, if you look at the priorities were given to health care, education, skill development, environment, natural resources, infrastructure development. All these were given the priority during the 12th 5-year plan. Fine. And the target was to generate 50 million jobs and to increase the investment in the infrastructure. Fine. So this is about the 12th 5-year plan. So in this session we have discussed regarding 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. So these 5-year plans have been discussed, right? And when it comes to the what is happening next after the 12th 5-year plan, that we'll discuss while we are discussing about the Niti Aayog. Clear? Regarding Niti Aayog, we'll be discussing during our sequence, but our next topic will be new economic reforms of 1991. What exactly happened in the year 1991? Why India opened our economy? What do you mean by LPG? what is liberalization, privatization, globalization, and what is the effect of all, right? So what was India, what is India now, everything we are going to discuss in the next session. Thank you so much for being with me, and I wish you all very, very good luck.